Welcome to Like Father Like Son. We are not role models, but we're real models. This ain't role play, this is
role play.
And we're here today to actually talk on the second half of the year where we can actually commit to do better under self-reflection and restart part 2. So, now let me ask you, what does restarting look like for yourself?
What it looks like from behind the lens is a lot different from what we're actually doing going forward. Do you understand?
It's true.
So the reset is really the view for me of where we're going and how we're going to get there.
What's ways that you would say that resetting works for you? Like, what's a way that you feel like, okay, we're in 6 months, we're going into the second half of the year, month 7 should I say, we're going to the second half of the year as we are now. What's the way that you know at a point in your life or the point of the year where you know it's time to restart?
Restarting again is acknowledging the small wins, the little developments, the progression that has happened, that has come to the forefront, and just acknowledging that we're not hanging on to it for too long. We're not trying to stay in one place and become stagnant. We want to use that to better ourselves, to better myself. So whether we go back to what we was discussing about, taking a moment and reflecting, whether we go back to finding a safe space within somebody that one can share vulnerabilities with, just to kind of excel in those areas to put back into myself so I can do better.
Do you feel like restarting is important for yourself?
I think restarting is important for both of us. Both of us to restart, both of us to acknowledge how far we've come, the trials and tribulations that we've managed to navigate around, and not to just sweep it under the rug, but to use that as strength going into this new segment of the year. Well, different. You're actually using it to better yourself. And whether I'm speaking on you or your generation, there's a lot of what do they call it? You only live once. So it's like
YOLO.
So I've done that, forget it, move on. Or that didn't work, forget it, move on. It's never a try again or a reflection on why it didn't work, and using that as strength to how am I gonna make this new target work.
Obviously, restarting plays an impact. Do you feel like millennials restart with their years, or do you feel like they just go, and only in every January they like to restart?
What would you say, really? Hold on, let me fire back at you. What would you say? Let me hear your view on restart. And I know you're gonna talk on current because that's where you're at. But I want you to just give me a little pinch on a bit further than before current. Just a little bit further. Was you always in this frame of mind and using this as strength to move forward?
I think for myself, really and truly, I would say in my early 20s, I would say probably late teens, I used to read books heavily, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I feel like the more I start educating myself, it's the more that makes me want to reset and actually think up where I'm at in life. So for myself, what's worked well is the more I go into certain lanes, into areas, new areas, more environments, where that can actually build up. I like to reflect, am I made for this? Number one, reset. What do I need to do better as well? Because sometimes you can get into new spaces, you can read books, you can watch a movie, you can watch podcasts, and it's actually motivational, it's actually helpful. But I've got to ask myself, and I think that's a key question, when you go into new spaces, are you willing to reflect and restart into the right way? So as for me, myself, since my early teens, I like to self-educate myself. But self-educating comes with self-reflection. Because when you self-educate where you're going and what information you're getting, you've got to reflect, where am I now? And that's when I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I started to soak in so much information like a sponge. Remember my early 20s?
Yes.
But then there's where's the application? And that's why the importance of the middle part of restart is so important, because without knowing where you are and what new information you've taken in, how could you restart to do well? So for myself, restarting it's an important thing. I've been doing it ever since I get into new rooms, into new environments. It's helped me become better. So
I like what you said there when you said the self-education and self-reflection. Did that come at this part of your life, or was that the early 20s? Because the self-education, I know you was big on because you was in the front of doing that with the jogging and everything else.
Committed.
But I'm not. I don't think the self-reflection was there at that time as well. I think that come with growth. I don't believe your early 20s you was as focused on the self-reflection as well as the self-education was a big thing, and you know I definitely second that.
So you're saying where was the pivotal point where I started?
Yeah, I don't think that came as a duo. In my opinion, from watching it from the outside. Yeah.
Do you know why? Okay, put it like this. Let's do a background check. So I went to college. Yeah. I don't advise anyone, but I dropped out of college. I'll be honest. I don't know if you remember.
Different strokes for different folks.
No, but I'm not saying to do it, but I'm saying I was accountable first of all. You knew it as my dad. My mum knew it as well. But it wasn't just saying what I wanted to drop out of college for, but it was like I knew what I was doing and this is my plan. So I always had a plan, right?
You did.
The reason I said there was a vital change point is because I got into multi-level marketing.
Yes.
So remember, from young, all I was doing was just striking. Anything I liked, I was doing.
Yeah.
Multi-level marketing, I was around people that were just motivating me, pushing me.
Yes.
That actually just flopped, but I actually gained some skills from it. Then I went into deal sourcing. Remember, I went into deal sourcing and started working. Then I did open a company with my friend.
Yes.
That was right. Then it flopped, and that was after the marketing through someone big that kind of, I think, messed up the whole thing that everyone can do public. There's only so much properties in the country that you can actually rent out to. Then I got to a pivotal point of, okay, cool. Now I've done the deal sourcing. Why I don't get into real estate agency. But it was the change effect when I got into my first job, to be honest. And my first job, it was a black owner. Do you remember? I was there for a month, yeah.
And that was growth, though.
But that
was growth.
That was growth, but that was a self-reflection point because it was like I got into my first 9 to 5, and within a month the place got robbed. Do you remember? The guy didn't even pay me, and that was time. And that made me reflect: like, is this like 9 to 5 thing for me? Like that was real. So
what? I went to pause once.
No, I said I didn't. No, because think of it. Within 1 month, I'm doing the 9 to 5. Wake up, get that at 9, finish at 5.
Where was the transition from? Remember, there was a time in your early 20s where there was that JOB comment, and I sat you down and said,
but that was hold on, wait, no. Okay, cool. The JOB, okay, cool. Let me be real. The JOB comment was definitely where I think I was 17. This is the entrepreneurial phase. No, it was not. I'm telling you.
20s, it was like 19.
No, it was 17, 18. The reason I said that because 18 actually, because this is the college transition and everyone's talking about self-made. Do you remember I went talking about self-made? I got that from Nipsey. And I said I even call my middle name, my child middle name, self-made. But that was the point where I was influenced very strong, and you can tell what I was watching. I was watching a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. I was watching people like Grant Cardone, Rich Dad Poor Dad, understanding where the difference between self-employment and being a business owner and investor, and it really opened my eyes where I didn't want to work for no one because I saw my environment, and that's what I'm saying. Like, thank you for actually telling me. That's what I'm saying. What you watch matters because it actually influenced me, and people around me was on that entrepreneurial mindset. I wasn't on working for no one. I wasn't anti. I just feel like at that moment of time, I didn't have the knowledge to be like, I can't be asked to get into that 9 to 5.
Let me ask you something then, yeah. When you made that comment, and I stood up with you and said, look, that's not really gonna work. The way I saw it was you received it in your body language, but you was headstrong. You wasn't trying to hear
but that's how I am.
Even with the examples that I was giving you, it took a moment for it to settle in, which is I know that's how you are. And you was doing a bit of jump shipping, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we can literally go through the steps, I feel, from like the early 20s, 19, 20, where a lot of books, a lot of influence, a lot of things that you was watching, that I was watching, I was literally seeing it happen. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's not, we shouldn't forget those growth steps or progression steps.
100%.
Because I watched you learn those steps, and don't get me wrong, after it kind of made sense to you, you applied it differently. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to skip past it because we wasn't born grown. Do you understand?
100%. I agree. I agree. 100%.
And I think it's good to remember those moments where we was having that like gentle kind of going back and forth for like, hold on. my phone's a cash machine.
Yeah, Wi-Fi money. Yeah. Wi-Fi money. But that's why I was around though. Like I was around Wi-Fi money. Like where you at if you ain't getting this money? Wi-Fi. Like, but you got to deep it. I did. My first job was in Wilkinson's. That was age 16. So remember, I had the shift. I went from working. Hold on, I went from college and working at the same time. I was working at Wilkinson's in Bromley. I was making. Obviously, they're closed down now. Then Wilkinson's redundant. But it was in a season where I did do the working shifts. I did do them and I grew as well. Yes. Then I went into MLM. I said, yeah, that's my point. Yeah. Then you asked me, actually, we'll take it back. In year 10, I'll never forget when we was in Putney. I'll never forget my dad asked me, what do I want to do? And do you remember what I said?
I do.
What did I say?
You wanted to sell cars.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying. So I wanted to sell cars and be in suits. Yeah. Obviously, I'm in line with that, but not fully doing cars at all. It's a different type of product. I'm in real estate anyway, so more properties.
But that's in you.
That was, that was from young. But that's what I'm saying, that from young. So when we're looking at restart, just to get back on topic for yourself, restarting, sometimes you actually have to go through life, which is actually logical to restart, because sometimes you can jump the gun. I'll definitely jump the gun, but when I was jumping, I meant in a way where I was just striking, trial and error. When I was in my early, late teens, I got into working, MLM. Then I got into deal sourcing. Then I got into 9 to 5, and then from then I knew about. You even told me that I need to stay somewhere in a job for minimum a year. Explain why that takes. Like, why do you need to be in a job?
You have to grow, isn't it? You have to grow. So anything that you're trying to get into, especially with you, like when you get your head stuck into it, you do put your all in.
100%.
Regardless whether it was the retail, whether it was the MLM, like I give you that. The jumping shipping isn't as it sounds. It was actually fully invested until it didn't make sense. You know what I mean? So I think it's also important and for Gen Zs to share where it is they're going and what they're doing, because then you can get different insights from different lived experiences to help guide and shape that, even though you may not take it on in that moment, a bit like you did,
very delayed,
but the seed's already sowed in it. So when it doesn't look fruitful or when it doesn't look like it makes sense, you don't really have to sit on it and kind of like drag your feet. You can be like, right, you know what, this is in the back, it was told and moved, you know what I mean? So for us both, to stay involved and to be open, because there's a lot of your generation that are very closed, and even though they're telling and sharing with their own peer groups, or what they see as like-minded people, remember, like, not everyone can give you a lived experience from a lens that doesn't align with yourself. Some people, like myself, like I have to take in what you're saying, because I'm saying, right, is he alright?
Yeah.
What's going on?
But I failed forward. One thing I can say, I failed forward. Because if you think of it logically, 9 to 5, I knew how to wake up and get to work on time. Yes. MLM, I knew how to have conversations. Bear in mind, when I was in the MLM, I was in London Bridge speaking to anyone and everyone. That's where my confidence is now. So there's levels. There's levels. I just went through the process.
With the speaking, whether it be sales, whether it be marketing, like you had that in you. So maybe you didn't see it at the time when you was talking about car sales, because obviously I had big ideas for you, but I knew that it was going to be based around what it is you're doing here now. But again, that needs to be shaped, that needs to be kind of like guided, that needs to be not just discussed, but also kind of challenged. Otherwise you just run away with whoever you're running up and down with, and next thing you know, you've forgotten the path.
There was points where I had to come back to the drawing board. So another way you can say restarting is coming back to the drawing board. When I read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Compound Effect, when I was listening to Prince Donnell about jump and jack taxes, I actually wanted to get into taxes. That's how much I was invested, And I was even listening to Grant Cardone before he obviously done what he needed to do. And it was a season where I was soaking in information, then I just would go strike at it, stay. But then when I was hitting the red lights and I wasn't making it through, I ended up coming back to the drawing board. So as much as I did a lot, I would say from the age of 16, I was working as my first job, 16 to the age of, when did I start setting? I would say 21, 16 to 21, I would say roughly, I was just failing forward, hitting the drawing board, failing forward, hitting the drawing board. So I think that's something that's worked for myself, that's grown to where I'm at now with confidence, how I'll be able to go up to anyone, make friends, network, be able to hold a conversation. It was through time. So in regards to restarting, I think for the Gen Zs, I would definitely say for a solution basis, fail forward, but always come back to the drawing board. Fail forward and have people around you to see your progress. Like my dad was able to see my progress, that I did fall forward in those seasons, but I kept going. And at the same time, I actually had new ideas because I was self-educating myself. Yes. So I said, okay, let me get into this. Let me know more about this. So now obviously everyone's doing this. Before TikTok blew, I was on YouTube, and that's how we came with YouTube University. So the importance of self-education and actually going at it is great. But when you do hit that one, it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't go through, definitely come back to the drawing board and see what the long-term goal is. See what you want to do. So I'd definitely say restarting is an important thing for Gen Zs. Just breaking down my story of what you've seen, just a little segment to where I'm at now. The progress is crazy. Like you can put me in a room with a lot of people and I can actually hold down a conversation. Different race, different culture, different lines. So yeah, for yourself, restart. What do you think?
Know what, restarting again, like taking snippets of experiences, past and present, and like aligning them to whatever yourself is focused on in that moment is important. Like no need to take 100% of what we've learned or what we've read or what we've seen. But if we ask ourselves, each other, and take a piece of it, a piece by piece by piece, will then add to something. You know what I mean? So
cool. As you have been learning, do you feel like you have an example where you feel like you've had to restart? It could be in a line of career, family life, it could be finances. Like, let the people know, where's an example this is where you feel like, you know, let me restart to make myself better. The people need to know. Let's flow. This is family, man. Like, genuinely, the people need to know, like, where's the part where you feel like, let me reset. I can say an example for myself where...
Do you know what? I feel like, because I've always been quite closed, and starting this and finding like a comfortable space for myself to just flow with it, is something that I look on as not a reset, but just progression for going forward. Reason being now is because this wouldn't have happened if this was, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, because I just wasn't in the mindset of sharing publicly. I wasn't in the mindset of even hearing certain tellings, whether it be from you or other seniors or people in my life, whether it be from my children. There's, remember, like, well, us as millennials, we come across, some of us, quite a lot of us, as quite ignorant.
Why though? Why do you think? Because that plays a part of restarting.
It's like we grew up hard. We grew up tough. Do you know what I mean? And
do you think that was just the parenting that you received, or do you think that was just the area that you lived in, or do you think that was just what you was influenced around? Like, we want to understand that where can a millennial learn right now? Can they restart?
You know, we gotta understand that subconsciously sometimes we kind of like lie to ourselves and make up that we are doing or being either better than we actually are, or unconsciously like just masking where we're actually at. And I think when we strip those layers back, and we have to strip those layers back, I've had to strip those layers back, that it allows you to see the negatives as well as the positives a lot more clearer. So you have to dig into the archive and be honest with yourself about what's good, what's bad, about who you are. Like, you just got to ask yourself these uncomfortable questions, and that's why digging into the archive is important, because it's just like setting out a game plan, but without understanding what you've done or what didn't work or what did work, whether we're going to continue to do that because it worked or whether we're going to try and reshape that because it didn't work. You got to look back, focusing forward and front facing constantly without coming to this point of reset and hitting the archive. It's like when they say, you heard that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes, yeah? I heard that in ages.
It kind of aligns with that at some point. So that's what I feel we can all do. I'm doing it, it's working. You're doing it, it's working. It's not gonna work for everybody, but it's a good starting point, innit? And then you can build on that.
I think even what you said is so deep about lying to yourself. I think we have to understand what type of restarting are you after. Because some people restart by themselves, but they still go through the same tracks. And then other people, it depends what lane you are, they restart, but they ask for advice. But really, truly, you actually need to be self-reflecting with yourself. So I think it's good to understand what techniques work for you. Actually, do both. When you're hitting a level where you need to go back to the drawing board, or you're overspending your finances, or you're doing too much for your career where you don't know where you're going, or where you're planning to the next level, whatever you want to do, try 2 types, I think, of restarting. I would definitely say what you said was so deep, because you can actually reflect with yourself, and there's thoughts that you might actually need to speak to the right people around to restart and actually go back onto that dashboard type of looking and see where I can go better. So I would definitely say just try the 2 types. What you've said, which is good, is self-reflecting, know who you are, and know not to lie to yourself. That was actually deep. But you can lie to yourself and you can get advice at the same time, and it still not work. Do you get what I'm saying? So for yourself, I would say, for me personally, restarting is important. And as we're going into, in the second half of the year, look at it 2 ways. When you restart, are you restarting with friends and are you reflecting with yourself? Or are you only reflecting with yourself and you need to use your friends to help you restart into the right way, into the right direction? Because at the end of the day, both of them work, but you have to understand your personality type.